Hello, everyone, and welcome to this conversation presented by White House Custom Color.
So Sarah Petty,
Jed Toffer.
how's it going down there in Springfield, Illinois?
Hey, I'm not far from you, right?
You're not.
So, I was thinking about this. I opened my first studio, which I don't think you were ever at my very first studio with
Probably.
the bars on the windows.
No, I didn't come to that one. I was too scared.
We didn't know each other then, but I opened that 2 weeks before 9/11.
No, we didn't know each other then. I think I met you in 2003. I want to say it was 2003.
Okay, so I moved to my second studio on 555.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, and then a year later, I moved to the third studio, tripled in size. That's the one you were at.
I was there, yes.
Yep, before moving here. So we've been through a lot over the years.
Yeah, I know.
We weathered 9/11. We weathered 2008, 2009.
Yeah, you know what? We were just talking. It's interesting you bring that up. I was just talking to somebody else about those two events in particular, because at first, I want to say way back, I don't know, it seems like a couple years ago, but it was like 10 days ago. We were talking about this in relation to 2011 or 9/11 and in relation to 2008. But the longer this goes for me, the less it seems like either one of those. Now, both of those are also very distinct events with all of their own dynamics and things too. But I mean, like, I'm not comparing it to those anymore, at least while I'm in it right now. Now, maybe on the other side of this, we'll lump all three of them together. But the lady I was talking to said she talked to someone that grew up and went through World War II. And she said, which one is weirder or stranger? This or what it was like in World War II? He said, now is way weirder or stranger than that was. And that kind of blew my mind a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at the economy over years and you look at key times, the dip probably, the Great Depression and all the different things that happened in the world that affected the economy, this is definitely going to go down as a huge one. I think the thing that's weird is with 9/11, there was a different kind of fear because we didn't know what was next. And
that's true.
And it was a different kind of fear. With here, I feel like, I don't know. There's a lot of fear and anxiety and everything happening. And I think for me, because I've been through something kind of like this twice in my business, I'm super optimistic and positive. Are we going to have pain? Absolutely we are, but we've come through things before. We know we're coming through it. And it's sort of like, I don't know, when you get sick and your body breaks down, you're burning the candle at both ends and you just literally can't work. And you're laying there in bed and you're like, I just need to get better. And you don't even care if you lose your business or anything because you feel so bad. I feel like that's what's happening to the world. It's sort of like saying, you guys just need to stay home, have a sick month or months and like fix what's going on. And I think, I don't know, people say time is money. And I disagree because we can always make more money, but we can't get more time. And I think the people who are going to come out of this better off in the long run, in the photography space, right? Like there are some industries that are getting just devastated,
walloped,
restaurants and some retailers and things. But I'm talking in the photography space are the people who take advantage of this time because we can't get that time back later. But we can maximize the things that we never have time to do, we can do now. So I don't know. I just feel like, and it's bringing us back to what's really important. I don't know.
What does that look like for you?
Well, it's interesting. I sent my kids off to college thinking they would stay at college. And my high schooler who's gone all the time. And now we're like taking turns. They're cooking. And we're trying to find the things that are coming out of this that wouldn't have ever come out of this if we wouldn't have had this. But do you remember, Tom, you've seen the Tom Hanks movie with Castaways? Remember, I say the Tom Hanks movie like there's just one of them.
Castaway, yeah, when he's on the island with Wilson,
with his
the volleyball.
Which,
Yeah.
volleyball girl.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think that's a movie everyone should go rent and think about how much you appreciate everything you have in your life. I mean, that's what it means to me, how lucky we are to have our health and to have our people and to have the freedom and flexibility to come and go when we want. And, he's on an island with a volleyball and some ice skates and he never opened that last box. Like, that really kills me.
He delivered it. He delivered it.
He did deliver it, but like, open it. I want to know what was in there. Like,
oh, I love that he delivered it.
I know.
That was
then
awesome.
He went back right at the end.
Yeah. It's interesting that you mentioned gratitude, right? We were talking with the kids the other day, and we were all talking about the importance of what's going on right now, and it's a big deal, and like what should we get out of this? And gratitude was like the big thing, because I feel like gratitude can lead, or is what fuels contentment. And what's better than being content? I don't know if there is anything better than being content, regardless of your financial situation or your health situation, both of which things you have to be aware of and strive to like make better and take care of those things. But contentment in any season or any situation is so important and is such a big deal. And I think it's gratitude that is the foundation for that.
Yeah. And I think a lot of good comes out of this with people wanting to help their neighboring business. And I think we'll see a lot of that coming back to help each other.
Yes.
But I also think as photographers, it just really highlights how what we do is so important, right?
There's
like
that.
We celebrate the people that everybody loves. The most important thing in the whole world is our people. And that's why I think as an industry, we offer healing for people. What we do is going to be needed more than ever when everybody gets through this, I feel like.
So what do people do right now? I've been asked, this is like the question that I'm asking everybody, like, given that, because I agree with you, what should people be focusing on right now with this time that they have from a business standpoint first?
Yeah. So here's where we kind of started with our coaching students in our community. First thing you have to do is sort of navigate the emotional part of this game, right? Sort of the head trash or whatever is happening, because it's sort of like, Jed, if you're in a job you love, you're working and your boss comes up and goes, Jed, you're fired. I'm sorry. We're letting you go. Nothing that he says after that is going to matter, right? Because you're like, what?
Right.
So if he starts going, so here's how you should get your resume together. And then here's how you go out to other business. Because you're like, what? You can't hear anything. You can't take forward action. So that's where we started with everybody. It's sort of like we've got it. You can't make decisions out of fear. You can't, every reaction you have out of fear or anxiety boomerangs right back to you as another negative emotion.
Yeah. Oh, I like that.
And
I like
so
that.
we have a lot of different tactics we teach, but one is that hopefully will help listeners is really separating the fact from the story we tell ourselves. So the fact is, right, we're at home now. The fact is, we can't be in groups, big groups. We can't go to events. We can't go to concerts. Like we can't go on spring break. I was supposed to be at the beach right now. And then we can tell ourselves a lot of stories, right? Because you turn the news on and you're like, we're all gonna die, right? Yeah. My business is gonna fail. My kids aren't going to graduate. They're not going to go back to college. Like you can just tell yourself so many stories that put you in that downward spiral.
Oh, yeah.
And on that side of the negative emotional scale. And so that's really where we started with everybody doing the work of, look, here's the fact. You're homebound right now. You're, like separating the fact from the story you're telling yourself, and then tell yourself a different story. Look for proof of a different story. Look, there are people who have gotten through this before. As a country, in a world, we've gotten through things like this before, and people still need what we have. And so first, I think it's getting yourself in an emotional space where you're ready to then go tactical, like strategic and tactical. So not operating, it's state mastery really, right? Like you get it as a business person, especially a creative. Like when I go into a session at 4:00 on Friday after a long week, it's like, and it's a high school senior. And I tell myself, okay, this is this kid's one session. I got to get in state, right? Listen to music, look at images. When we are going into a sales presentation, we're in a different state, right? We're like in a certain point of serving. We have everything clean. Like I really want to make sure I'm tight on my presentation, that I'm giving everything I have to my client. So like, it's a different kind of state we have to get in. And I think in this time when we're sort of pausing our client interaction, especially in different, places, some people are able to sell online from past sessions. Like I have students making a lot of money right now doing that.
Right.
But, getting ourselves in a different state, like this is a new normal. Right? This is a new normal. So something that hit our community really hard this week that we didn't see kind of coming was that, all the schools sent the kids home and gave them kind of week to get the teachers to get it together. And now the kids are expected to have the computer, and they have one computer in the home, and they got 4 kids needing that computer that mom or dad is working on.
Right. Also
And the kids are fighting with the 3-year-old who's like, I want to do it. And like, so you're homeschooling and you're trying to work, and it's hard to manage that state, right? So again, we go back to, we can't get tactical with this until we figure out what's going on up here.
Right.
I'm not a professional therapist, but I do think the psychology of how we function has a lot to do with the same psychology of psychology.
Well, it's a huge deal. You have to get yourself in a frame of mind. I mean, first of all, you acknowledge what's going on, and yes, it's crazy, and yes, in a lot of ways it's unprecedented, and yes, there's like no rule book or no like set of things that if you just follow these, everything's going to work out perfect. That none of that exists. And at the same time, the sky is not falling, right? We are going to get through this. There have been casualties. There will be more. It is tragic, but the sun will rise tomorrow, right? Isn't that
so true? It's so true. I mean, that's the story you've got to lean onto. And we tell people, don't sit on Facebook and follow links and watch the news. Like, get your news in 5 minutes a day.
Get a little piece.
And then take this time as a gift.
Yeah.
And then using strategies that you usually don't have to rely so heavily on. But one that actually I'm kind of religious about is planning my day tomorrow today. Because if you wake up and you don't know what you need to accomplish, you're just spinning. And it's even harder when you've got kids at home and computers and teachers who are, I don't know, my kids, teachers I think are trying to overcompensate for this whole situation by giving them more homework.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But, dividing the list into things I can do that take less attention that maybe I can do while I'm sitting with my kids, and then other things that I have to have complete silent for. So then you negotiate with your spouse, hey, can I get 2 hours of dedicated time when you get home from work? Or we put the kids to bed, then I need 8 to 10, to work on my business. Because if you don't even have a little quiet time with your brain to make your decisions and think clearly, that's when it gets really hard. So you're not going to get the normal 8 hours or 10 or 6 or however many you got when your kids used to be in school. You're just not going to get that anymore. No,
you have to work with what you have. And I think that you mentioned this, and I was talking to somebody about this the other day too. Like, you don't have to get 40 things done. I mean, we have the time, right? And the time is different right now, but be good to yourself. Like, if your list has 40 things on it, you don't need to do them today. And sometimes none of them are going to get done. But even if you just take one and make it a simple little thing, right? Yep. And this, I think maybe it was Jeff Duchowski, and he was just like something to the effect of like, I took a shower this morning. Check.
Literally.
I looked at my calendar. I looked at my top 10 client. Look, we were talking about this the other night. I was like, what if we just reach out to our clients with a handwritten note? No marketing. No anything that has anything to do with profit or making money or anything of that nature. A handwritten note. We're thinking about you guys because we are, right? We're all going to get through this. Just an encouraging note, and that's it.
Yeah.
No sales, no session fees, no gift cards, just a note.
Yep.
Something
Love
that
it.
simple.
And we're super, like you guys, Vicky's always been super connected with your community. And same with me. Like I was on the chamber right out of college. My dad really always stressed the importance of being part of
Yeah.
the community. And
Yeah.
I see with so many students like, oh, I can't ever get in to meet this person or that person. These business owners are in their businesses. Not that I'm saying go flood them, but they're accessible in a way they never have been. And the same thing, we
That's
don't
true.
go in with like a sales pitch. We like
Right.
reach out and we say, hey, I've watched your business. I see what you're doing. Like hang in there, please. Like we love
Yes.
love what you're doing. Like we have a bakery that we eat. They have a little lunch. And I saw he's going live on Instagram talking about his pastries, and he barely has followers. And I know people aren't driving to our downtown to get these expensive pastries, but I reached out and I was like, hey, we have a little retirement home right by our house where all these elderly people are not allowed, they're not allowing any visitors in because it's too risky. And I thought, you know, if he could get his average ticket up and sell $50 to $75 for a box, that then they could deliver to all of these retirement homes for people. And so I messaged him on Instagram. He's like, oh my gosh, call me. So we're playing phone tag right now. But like, I don't have any agenda. I don't know that we'd ever partner together or whatever. But if you start putting that goodwill out into the world, it at least keep you getting stuck, right?
It comes back.
At least keep you doing something for other people, which will always help you do for yourself later, right?
What words of encouragement do you just have from a personal standpoint for people?
From a personal standpoint.
Like from a mom, Sarah. Like from a mom.
Oh gosh, you know, I was actually just had this conversation with my coaching students because we've been in there like mad, making sure nobody's left behind. And one of the things I told them was, it's okay to let your kids see you cry. It's okay to let your kids see that you're struggling. We as parents, and I'm sure we've been guilty of it too, but they talk about the helicopter parent or the mower parent that's mowing down the weeds ahead of their child so they have an easy way.
Right.
And
yeah.
we're not serving our children. And I believe I'm the person that I am because I was the child of an entrepreneur, and I watched my dad. I watched him have to let someone go and not sleep for 2 weeks. I watched his business get broken into and him sleep with like a gun. And it was a picture window, like at the front, so that it didn't get robbed until the glass people could come in the morning. I watched it, like him suffer through all these things. And it makes me tackle problems without as much fear because I saw that he got through them and I saw how much he suffered. And I was like, look, it worked out. He didn't have to suffer. He let, you know, he got through that. And I think as parents, and I share that with my students too, like, it's okay not to have the answer. It's okay to let your kids know you're scared and that you're failing. And it's going to make them better people too. And
well, because they also know already.
They know already, but I think
they have a sense of it.
I think as parents, we try to protect our kids from so much. Have you ever seen a baby chick be born, Jed? We're in the Midwest. Like
I've seen baby chicks not actually being born.
So as they're trying to break out of their shell, I guess they're technically born.
Right, they're in the
painful.
egg.
They're like this scrawny little thing, and they're wiggling to get out, and you so badly want to go take that shell.
Oh, right, sure. Yeah.
But when you do that, it's likely that they will die because the survival muscles they need to survive in life, they're building as they break out and they struggle. And I believe that for our kids, they need the struggles. I believe as humans, we need the struggles. And I think these are great times for conversations with our kids about these struggles, and that we don't have all the answers, and that these times make us stronger. And my mentor always says, do hard things because it increases your capacity, right? People call it comfort zone, whatever, you know, but we're all forced out of our comfort zone right now, right? We're all having to do hard things that are uncomfortable for us, but it's going to make us better, stronger people. So I don't know, as a mom, I just feel like that's my most important job, is to develop my kids and help them through times like this, and help them see it in a way that when struggles come in their life, they're not rocking in a corner crying, or they cry and then they pull up their positive
Right.
pants and they go tackle it, right? Like, we're going to be okay.
Right.
And,
yeah. I mean, I hope it's okay to cry in that corner for a little bit.
It is. And I tell people that it's okay. I've been there. I remember my twins were 7 and Grace was about 5, and I didn't have a sitter for the week, and I was sure I was going to be fine working. And we had a car that had just one seat in the back, and they're fighting and they're hitting each other. And I called Andrea, and she went van shopping with me. Like, sure, a big van is going to solve the problem. But I was in tears. I was a crabby Patty mommy every night, my poor husband, because I just was so frustrated that I couldn't do it all.
Yeah.
And, those feelings are real. Like, when you have them, you don't forget them. And so I get it. Like, you can't always solve everything today. There's not a solution for us, right? Other than let's all hang on to each other, and let's be positive, and let's do what we can. Like, there's a lot of stuff swirling out there, right? And it's like, we've been home. I feel like I had to drop some at the post office. I was like, oh my gosh, this is what it's like to go out. We've been in hibernation.
I know. Same. I haven't left in, I don't remember, 12 days, 13 days, something like that.
I know, because you can have groceries delivered. We're trying to not buy things we don't need, but you got to have certain things, groceries, and Joe will go early in the morning. We try to avoid crowds.
We haven't been to the store in about that long. We kind of got this little family challenge we're going to see. We're seeing how long we can go.
How much toilet paper do you have, Jed?
Well, we happen to have a lot beforehand, which we found like 3 different places where there was extra toilet. We were like, oh, there's 6 more rolls in here. So we brought those out, and they're all in the pantry now. They're all kind of just stacked there, and the stack is going down as it tends to do. But we're like bringing out the frozen stuff that we haven't. Vicky was like, oh, here's some beef that we didn't even know was in there. Right. And it hasn't expired yet, but we're like, this is a good time to just eat everything that we have on hand. And we're going to see how long we can go without going to the store. Our stores are open. Everything's full right now. My mom just called me and said, oh, there's more stuff at the store than I've ever seen there before. So that's all fine. And we're not worried about that, but we're just kind of, you turn it into fun little challenges and fun little things for yourself, I think is what we're doing right now.
I love that idea. I may go home tonight and pull out, we have like above the stove, like kind of a little pantry. Yeah. And we just keep shoving stuff on the front. Like, maybe we just dig it all out and we say,
see what's back there.
Yeah.
And get creative. And we're like coming up with new things that we've never made before. And the kids are kind of into it. And then sometimes they're not when they see how it turns out. But, but it's been fun.
We're making history right now. When their kids are their age, they're going to be reading in their history book about coronavirus and how it affected the economy. And what I had, and we're going to do in our family, but I had all my students do, is I printed out a worksheet, not a worksheet, but like a sheet, which you could just do this on like a whiteboard or a pad of paper, but writing down like the things they want to accomplish during this virus in the extra time, and then what they have accomplished. But at the bottom, like all the things that are happening that never would have happened. Like, look how much fun you're having. I saw your tent too, I think on Vic's Insta story.
Oh yeah, camping.
We're camping. Of the giant family tent. Like, put a picture of that. Yeah. I think those things are super, super cool. Yeah. And like to look back at history and go, kids, here's what we did. Yeah. Like, we cooked, look at the meals we cooked, and take pictures of those things and say we had 47 boxes of macaroni and cheese that we had to peel through. I'm sure that's what we have.
Well, there's a ton of that. We had that last night actually, but there's a cool meme going around where somebody's like talking to their kid about this 10, 15 years from now. And they're saying like, what do you remember about those tough times? And the kid's response is something like, oh, we made forts and dad was home the whole time and we played this and we did that. And I learned how to play Monopoly then. And all this stuff that the kid lists from their perspective about what's going on right now. And the kid says something like, those were the best days of my life so far. Yeah. And it struck me so powerfully because I remember growing up and we had some tough times in my family in the early 80s. You know, my dad's paying like 20% on our mortgage or whatever, but I have a lot of really wonderful memories of those times. And I know that looking back now, it was really stressful for my parents and for a lot of people that were really struggling during that time. But it struck me like it's on me to provide that environment for my children right now, right? So that 10, 15 years from now, when we are talking about this, Vic and I are going to remember this, and we're aware of a lot more of the other bigger things, you know, adult things that the kids are not aware of right now. And that struck me like it's my responsibility, you know, like that's on me. So that's what I'm trying to focus on as a dad right now.
No, I love that. And you work hard to get ahead, and so you can have time with your kids, and like you were given, like go have time with your kids. Right. And make a fire. And I think that's something else. Pull out games, you know, pull out the games that you haven't had lately. You guys are probably good game players.
We have game 6 of Monopoly going to happen. Maybe game 6 and game 7 tonight. We have a big tournament sheet on the wall, right? And the first 3 games, it was encouraged to give the kids advice. And game 4, the kids no longer get advice from the parents. So, because they actually are starting to win.
Oh my gosh. So no more help for them.
Nope. In fact, I lost the last 2 games, and it's really kind of grinding my gears. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a little frustrated.
Maybe you could Google some like strategies or something.
I have my strategies. I know how to play Monopoly. I win Monopoly. And the last 2 games I lost to a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old, and it's driving me bananas.
That would bother me too.
It's kind of firing me up right now. Maybe you can tell.
Yeah. You're going to go home early, and you're going to have that board set up. You're going to like get some intimidation.
I got to run through some mock scenarios, brush up on my game.
There you
go. Hey, you know what? Thank you for this.
Thank you.
You look really wonderful. You look really happy and glowy and pretty, and it warms my heart right now. And I appreciate your time. I have found that
it helps to like get dressed and act like a human. Literally, the first couple of days of being at home, I was like, I'm not going to see anybody today. And I was a sweatshirt and a ponytail, and it just affects me differently.
Yeah.
I have to put clothes, like adult people, clothes on, some jewelry, some makeup. Like it makes me feel human. So
I get it. Well, you look wonderful, and I appreciate your time and your words of wisdom. They are very helpful to me, and I know they will be to other people too, Sarah Petty.
Hey, Jed Toffer, thanks for doing this. I just really want to be a voice of positivity right now. There's so much going on in the world, and it's like you wake up and you're fired up, and then you get another hit that something else came down and something else. And it's like, you know what? We're all going to be okay. And at the end of the day, people need what we have. We create artwork that heals people, that makes, adopted kids feel part of the family, or it makes, new married people happy. It makes kids it just brings families together. It makes insecure teenagers feel loved and feel worthwhile. Like what we do is so important.
Yep.
And I just want everybody to remember that we're healers, and we're going to be here to help people when the dust settles, and the money will come. Right? The money will come. Like for now, we got to go into take care of each other mode, keep our positive pants on, block out all the news and everything, because it can consume you.
Positive pants. And
let's enjoy the gift of time with ourselves, to work on our business, to be with our people, to play Monopoly. And it'll be okay. We're going to be okay, Jed. We're going to be okay.
Positive pants. I like it. Those are good words.
Positive pants.
Thanks for your time. Please give my best to Joe and the kiddos, and I wish you guys the very best. We'll see you on the other side of all this.
We sure will, Jed. Thanks.
Thank you.